It is 10 p.m. on a Sunday. You are lying in bed trying to force yourself to sleep, but you can't. You have that heavy, tight feeling in the center of your chest. The Sunday scaries. You aren't worried about a tiger eating you. You aren't worried about starvation or thirst. You are worried about an email. You are worried about a Zoom meeting at 9 a.m. tomorrow with a middle manager named Gary who asks you for the same report every week. You try to comfort yourself with logic. You lay there and tell yourself, "It's okay. I have a good job. I make $40 an hour. That's $83,000 a year. I am successful. I am safe." You repeat that number like a mantra. $40 an hour. It sounds like a lot of money. It sounds like the American dream. But if you are so successful, why does your bank account look so average? Why does a $400 car repair bill feel like a catastrophe that ruins your month? Why do you feel like you are running on a treadmill that is set just slightly faster than your legs can move, leaving you perpetually out of breath? Here is the truth that HR will never tell you, and that your parents probably don't even understand. That $40 an hour is a mirage. It is a gross revenue number that ignores the terrifying overhead costs of your existence. Once we factor in the taxes, the commuting, the clothes, the convenience food, and the therapy or decompression spending you pay just to tolerate the job, that $40 melts away. My name is Tony, and today we are going to perform a forensic accounting audit on your life. We aren't just going to look at your pay stub. We are going to look at the hidden taxes of the modern workplace. And I have to warn you, the math we are about to do is depressing. It might make you angry. But we are going to prove mathematically that your high-paying corporate job is actually paying you somewhere around $6 an hour. And by the end of this video, you are going to realize why the teenager flipping burgers down the street might actually be richer than you. Let's start with a fundamental error in how we view the world. We are trained from the moment we leave school to think like employees, but if you want to understand why you're broke, you need to think like a business. Imagine a bakery. This bakery sells $1 million worth of bread a year. That sounds amazing, right? $1 million business. But what if I told you they spend $1.1 million on flour, rent, insurance, and electricity to make that bread? Is that a successful business? No. It's a disaster. It's bankrupt. In business, we know that revenue is vanity, but profit is sanity. Now, look at yourself. You are the business. Your employer is your client. Your salary is your revenue. But you completely ignore your cost of goods sold. The good being sold is you, your biological energy, your time, your sanity. Most people look at a job offer of $85,000 and say yes, without ever asking, what does it cost me to generate this $85,000? If you have to spend $50,000 and 80 hours a week to earn that $85,000, you are a low-margin, high-risk business. You are churning cash, but you aren't keeping any of it. So let's stop looking at the top line. Let's dig into the expenses using a test subject we'll call Mark. Mark is a typical mid-level manager. He makes exactly $40 an hour. Let's see where that money actually goes before he even touches it. Right off the bat, the government takes its cut. Federal tax, state tax, Social Security, Medicare. That $40 is instantly shaved down to about $28. We all know this. This isn't the surprise. The surprise is what happens next. These are the work contingent expenses. Costs Mark pays only because he has this specific job. First, consider the commute. Mark drives 45 minutes to work. He spends money on gas every single week. But he also puts miles on his car, accelerating depreciation, meaning he will need to buy a new car sooner. He pays for insurance. Maybe he pays $200 a month for a parking spot in the city. Or maybe he takes the train, but he has to drive to the station and pay for the monthly pass. Conservatively, between gas, wear and tear, and parking, this costs him thousands a year. When you break it down, that is roughly $2.50 per hour deducted from his wage. So now his real wage is down to $25.50. Then there is the professional appearance tax. Mark can't roll out of bed and go to work in what he's comfortable in. He needs business casual attire. He needs the blazers, the chinos, the uncomfortable dress shoes that pinch his toes. He needs the dry cleaning because he doesn't have time to wash and press them himself. He needs the haircuts every 3 weeks to look sharp for the client. If Mark worked from home or at a warehouse, he'd be wearing shorts and a t-shirt. This wardrobe is a work expense, not a personal choice. Let's call that another $1.50 per hour gone. We are down to $24. Next comes the convenience tax, which I often call the exhaustion fee. This is the silent killer of wealth. Because Mark is rushing out the door at 7:30 a.m., he doesn't make coffee at home for 50 cents. He buys a $6 latte because he is stuck in meetings until 1 p.m. He doesn't pack a lunch. He buys a $16 grain bowl from the place downstairs. Because he gets home at 7 p.m. and is mentally fried, he orders takeout for dinner because the idea of chopping an onion makes him want to cry. He pays a premium for everything because he's selling his time to his boss. He buys back his free time with expensive convenience. This easily adds up to $5 per hour. Now his real wage is $19. And then there is the darkest category of all, decompression spending. This is the money Mark spends to numb the pain of his existence. It's the Friday night bar tab where he drops $100 just to blow off steam and forget the week. It's the impulse purchases on Amazon he makes at lunch because he feels bored and unfulfilled. It's the expensive vacation he books to Cancun because he needs to get away from the office. Think about that phrasing. If he loved his life, he wouldn't need to get away from it so desperately. This coping tax is high. Let's call it $4 per hour. So, where does that leave us? We are down to a net real income of $15 an hour. Mark thinks he is a high roller making $40 an hour. In reality, his lifestyle consumption is just a life support system for his job. He is spending money just to be able to go back to work the next day. But we are only halfway through the autopsy. Remember that wage is a fraction. Money divided by time. We just slashed the money numerator down to $15. Now we have to look at the time denominator. Mark's contract says 9 to 5. That's 40 hours a week. This is the biggest lie in the corporate world. Think about the shadow hours. Mark wakes up at 6:30 a.m. He showers, shaves, irons his shirt, and packs his bag. This is not leisure time. He isn't doing this for fun. This is work preparation. If he didn't have the job, he'd be sleeping. That is 5 hours a week of unpaid labor. Then there is the transportation itself, the commute, 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back. That is 1.5 hours a day of unpaid labor. He is transporting the merchandise, himself, to the buyer. He is a trucker who doesn't get paid for the miles. That adds 7.5 hours a week. Then consider the prisoner's lunch. Mark gets an hour for lunch, but he can't go home. He can't play with his kids. He can't watch a movie or take a nap. He is tethered to the office. He is on standby. That is not free time. That is work time. That adds another 5 hours a week. Finally, there is the mental carryover. This is the worst one. Mark leaves the office at 5 p.m., but his brain doesn't leave until 8 p.m. He is venting to his wife about his boss during dinner. He is checking Slack notifications while watching TV. He is laying in bed worrying about the presentation. This is mental overtime. Let's conservatively say this consumes 5 hours a week. When you add the grooming, the commuting, the lunching, and the worrying, Mark isn't working 40 hours. Mark is dedicating 62.5 hours a week to his employer. Now, let's do the final math. The math that explains why Mark feels broke. We take his net real income, the money left after taxes and work-related costs, which we calculated was around $30,000 a year of actual profit. And we divide it by his true hours committed. 62.5 hours a week times 50 weeks a year is 3,125 hours. $30,000 divided by 3,125 hours. $9.60 an hour. But wait, it gets worse. What if Mark lives in a high cost of living area? What if he fell for the golden handcuffs trap? What if he bought a BMW he can't afford because managers drive BMWs? What if he rents a luxury apartment near the office to save time? I have run these numbers for people in New York, London, and San Francisco. Once you factor in the lifestyle inflation required to maintain the image of the job, I have seen this number drop to $6 an hour. Meanwhile, look at the teenager at the burger joint down the street. He walks to work, so he has zero commute cost. He wears a uniform provided by the store, so he has zero clothing cost. He eats free fries, so he has zero food cost. And most importantly, when he clocks out, he doesn't worry about the fry station. He leaves his work at work. Zero stress cost. He makes $15 an hour, and he keeps almost all of it. Mathematically, the high-flying corporate manager is losing to the dog walker and the burger flipper. There is one final insult to this injury, and it is the opportunity cost. Every dollar Mark spends on convenience, that $15 salad, that $5 coffee, is a dollar that is not being invested. He is eating his retirement. If Mark could bring his lunch and save that $10 a day and invest it over 30 years at 7% interest, that money grows to over $350,000. Mark isn't just spending $10 on lunch. He is spending $350,000 of his future freedom just to survive his present day. The system is designed to keep you too tired to cook, too tired to budget, and too tired to do this math. They want you to be a passive consumer of your own life. So what do? Do you quit your job tomorrow and live in a van? No. But you have to change the metric of your success. Stop trying to maximize gross income. Start trying to maximize real hourly wage. You need to negotiate. Can you work remotely? Even 2 days a week saves you hours of commuting and gas. That is an instant raise without your boss paying you a dime more. You need to attack the convenience tax. Meal prep on Sundays. It's not just about saving money, it's about reclaiming your freedom from the exhaustion economy. And you need to stop caring. Stop spending money to impress coworkers you don't even like. Wear the same clothes. Drive the old car. Your goal is to increase the gap between your income and your work costs. That gap is your freedom. I want you to do this exercise this weekend. Don't do it when you are tired on Friday. Do it on Sunday morning. Calculate your real hourly wage. Write that number on a Post-it note and stick it on your credit card. The next time you go to buy something to soothe your stress, look at that number. Ask yourself, is this plastic junk worth 10 hours of my life? The answer will almost always be no. Stop selling your time at a discount. You are the most valuable asset you have. Start treating yourself like a profitable business. If this video woke you up, hit the like button so the algorithm shows it to another tired employee. And subscribe for more financial forensics. I'll see you in the next one.